We used to have cheap cars that were just honest, simple metal boxes. You bought them, you drove them into the ground, and you didn't complain because they cost less than a moderately nice sofa. But somewhere along the line, automakers decided that every vehicle needs to be a heavy, overpriced, rolling smartphone. Enter Fiat, a brand that has practically kept Italy moving for a century, deciding it is time to remind everyone how to build an affordable car that actually has a pulse. They have resurrected a legendary nameplate for the 2025 and 2026 model years. This is the first generation of the completely new Fiat Grande Panda, and it is here to pick a fight in the fiercely competitive subcompact crossover market. But before you get swept away by the retro 1980s nostalgia and those incredibly cool pixel headlights that look like they were ripped straight out of a vintage arcade game, we need to have a serious conversation. Because underneath this ridiculously charming Italian suit hides the skeleton of a Citroen C3 and an Opel Frontera. It is built on the Stellantis smart car platform, which means it shares its bones with cars that are entirely different in character. So, is this a masterpiece of cheap Italian genius, or just another parts bin special dressed up in a fancy outfit? Let us talk about what nobody else wants to say out loud. We have to start with the engine, specifically the hybrid, because this is where the biggest hidden drama lies. For years, European buyers have been absolutely terrified of the Stellantis 1.2-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. And for good reason. The older versions used a timing belt bathed in engine oil, which had a nasty habit of degrading, clogging the oil pump, and destroying the engine. It was an engineering nightmare. But here is the massive, beautiful payoff for the new Grande Panda. Fiat actually listened. This car uses the new Generation 3 engine, and they finally threw that wet belt in the trash. The Grande Panda Hybrid features a proper, durable timing chain. That 1.2-liter engine works with a 48-volt lithium-ion battery and a 21-kilowatt electric motor that is baked right into a 6-speed electric dual-clutch transmission. Combined, you get 110 horsepower and 205 newton-meters of torque. It is not going to set your hair on fire. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes a yawning 11.2 seconds. But it is a front-wheel drive urban runabout, not a track weapon. The real magic is that the electric motor is strong enough to let the car creep along in heavy city traffic completely silently, without the gas engine running. Fiat claims you will see fuel consumption around 5.1 liters per 100 kilometers, and honestly, for a boxy vehicle, that is a perfectly respectable number. But maybe you do not want gas at all. Fiat is heavily pushing the fully electric version of the Grande Panda. It uses a 44 kilowatt-hour battery and a front-mounted motor making 113 horsepower and 122 newton-meters of torque. They went with lithium iron phosphate for the battery chemistry, which is a brilliant move for longevity because those batteries can take thousands of charge cycles without degrading heavily. But here comes the harsh reality check. Fiat claims a range of 320 kilometers, or roughly 199 miles. In the real world, especially if you live somewhere that actually experiences winter, you can slash that number drastically. Why? Because Fiat did not include a heat pump. When the temperature drops, your heating system draws heavily from the battery, and you might find yourself struggling to even reach 200 kilometers before needing a plug. However, Fiat makes up for that winter range anxiety with what might legitimately be the smartest electric vehicle feature of the entire decade. They built a retractable, spiral alternating current charging cable directly into the front grille. You do not have to open your trunk in the pouring rain, dig out a filthy, tangled, wet cable, and wrestle with it. You just pop the front panel, pull the cord out like a vacuum cleaner, plug it in, and when you are done, it retracts automatically. It is a stroke of absolute genius, and it is baffling that it took a budget Fiat to invent it. That front cable handles 7.4 kilowatts, taking about 4 hours and 20 minutes for a full charge. If you are on the highway, there is a standard direct current fast charging port on the back that handles 100 kilowatts, taking you from 20 to 80% in 27 minutes. Let us step inside, because the packaging on this car is basically black magic. The Grande Panda is only 3,999 millimeters long and 1,763 millimeters wide, but somehow 5 adults can actually fit inside. Because it is shaped like a brick, the headroom is phenomenal. In the hybrid version, you get 412 liters of cargo capacity, which is massive for this segment. The electric version loses a little space to the hardware, giving you 361 liters. But fold the rear seats down and both versions offer over 1,300 liters of hauling space. The interior design is where Fiat flexes its personality. The dashboard is shaped like a massive oval, paying tribute to the legendary rooftop test track at the old Fiat factory in Turin. If you buy the top La Prima trim, the upper glove box is covered in a material called Bambox, which is actually woven with 33% real bamboo fibers. Yes, the lower plastics are hard and scratchy, but Fiat used recycled beverage cartons to make them, and they styled them so aggressively well that you just do not care that it feels cheap. You get a 10.25-inch central touchscreen with wireless smartphone mirroring and a 10-inch digital driver cluster. And praise the automotive gods, Fiat kept actual physical buttons for the climate controls. You do not have to dive into a touchscreen menu just to turn up the heat. Out on the road, the Grande Panda drives exactly how you would expect an Italian city car to drive. The steering is feather light, and the turning circle is a remarkably tight 10.9 meters. It dives into city gaps like a caffeinated squirrel. The McPherson strut front suspension and torsion beam rear end are tuned to be slightly firmer than its soft, floaty Citroen cousin. But take it out of the city and onto the highway, and the illusion fades. Above 100 kilometers per hour, the wind noise off that upright windshield becomes incredibly obvious. The steering feels a bit vague at higher speeds, and overtakes require written permission and a lot of planning. Also, bizarrely, the electric version does not offer true one-pedal driving, which feels like a strange omission for a modern electric car. Now, let us talk about the dark side of buying a first-year production car, because the forums are already lighting up with complaints. Stellantis clearly rushed some of the software. Owners are reporting that the Uconnect 5 infotainment system has a nasty habit of freezing or spontaneously rebooting while driving. The advanced driver assistance systems, like the automatic emergency braking and lane keeping assist, rely on a front camera that easily gets confused by heavy rain or dirt, throwing warning lights across your dashboard. In the hybrid models, there is a widespread issue with the 12-volt battery draining prematurely because of the aggressive start-stop cycles in city traffic, causing the car to panic and display a message saying the electrical system is unavailable. Electric owners are complaining that home charging occasionally drops to a crawl after 30 minutes due to unoptimized thermal management software. And if you test drive one, listen very closely when you go over cobblestones or speed bumps. There are multiple reports of knocking noises coming from the front suspension, which mechanics are tracing back to wishbone bushings that need adjustment right out of the factory. None of this means the car is a lemon. These are classic first-year growing pains that will likely be fixed with over-the-air updates and minor dealer tweaks, but it proves that early adopters are basically unpaid beta testers. So, how do you buy one without getting ripped off? The pricing is aggressive, starting under £19,000 for the hybrid and under £21,000 for the electric version. Fiat offers three main trims: Pop, Icon, and La Prima. Do yourself a favor and skip the base Pop trim with its steel wheels and basic interior. The mid-range Icon trim is the absolute sweet spot. It gets you the alloy wheels, the roof rails, the better tech, and keeps the price incredibly reasonable. The La Prima adds the bamboo dashboard, a rear-view camera, and parking sensors all around, but it pushes the price up to a point where you start questioning the value. At the end of the day, the Fiat Grande Panda is not a luxury car. It is not a sports car. And with its current software gremlins, it is certainly not a flawless piece of engineering. But it is something much rarer. It is an honest, practical, incredibly stylish utility box that actually has a personality. The timing chain fixes the worst engine fears. The integrated charging cable is a stroke of absolute brilliance, and the interior packaging is phenomenal. It does not take itself too seriously, and that is exactly why it works. So, what do you think? Would you take a chance on the quirky, incredibly clever Fiat Grande Panda, knowing it has a few first-year software bugs? Or would you play it safe and buy something like a Dacia Sandero, or maybe drop a little more cash for the retro charm of the new Renault 5? Let us argue about it in the comments below.